now, once again, Raymond Arroyo.
Welcome back to The World Over Live. He is an advisor to the anti-Terrorism Caucus of the House of Representatives to help us understand what's driving the jihadists in Europe and the threats they could pose far beyond. We're joined by Dr. Walid Phares. Walid, great to see you again.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming out.
Of course.
Why did the president, why have the heads of all these states in Europe underestimated the threat of ISIS and the threat of these cells in their midst?
Well, number one, they were badly advised by an academic elite on both sides of the Atlantic, claiming that these are only people who are called, searching for jobs, and if they are frustrated, and these are individuals who become frustrated, they did not see the movement. And if you don't see the movement, you don't know how this is indoctrinated. If you don't see the ideology, you don't understand the movement. So I think it is time for the Europeans and the United States to revise our vision of what the jihadist movement is.
Yeah, let's face it, this is about radicalization. Most of these perpetrators, these terrorists, are French citizens in the case of Paris.
Right.
So they were radicalized from within. Shouldn't we be focused on that, even in the United States?
For the last 10 years, we have been in Congress and beyond Congress giving the advice that the real battle is a war of ideas. Because these individuals are not born jihadists. They become jihadists. They are indoctrinated. It's like a chip. It's like lobotomy. They put a chip in their head and they act as jihadists.
Yeah.
So what we don't have now, unfortunately, with the administration, Congress from time to time holds hearings, is a strategy to push back against that. We need to have NGOs. We need to have moderates. We need to have you know that we fund Arab media?
Yes.
We are paying millions of dollars. It's not doing a job.
Let's move on for a moment, and it's just it's a slight movement. When you look at Major Hassan at Fort Hood, the Fort Hood shooter, he was screened. He was a member of the military. What confidence do you have that we can screen refugees, never mind citizens, refugees coming in from other countries with no real paperwork? Are you confident that that process is a stable one?
No. I have been in this business for the last 25 years, at least in America. I have seen every single type of jihadism. I have testified, briefed administrations and the legislative. And I can tell you that our bureaucracy is not able to screen for the simple reason that at least since 2009, maybe a little bit before, the Obama administration removed the most important element of screening, which is the ideology. So if you tell your analyst and your briefers and your screeners, do everything but do not touch the ideology, how on earth are we going to be able to screen if he or she are jihadists?
Is there a religious screen in the process where they say, tell me what you believe? Is that part of the process?
This is like kindergarten religious belief. Of course they're going to tell you what the religious beliefs are. Should they be Muslim, Christian, Baha'i? That is not the issue. It's the ideological one. For example, one simple question, do you believe that the world is divided in a war zone in Dar al-Islam? I mean, this is very basic, but it's not about only screening. It's about detecting the ideological background. We're talking about the tail, the head of this whole discussion. Guess what it is? In Syria and Turkey. Why from the beginning we are actually transferring a demography of Syrians 5 countries in 2 continents away. Under international law, the refugees, when they move to another country, you have the international obligation to go and help them there. And eventually back to Syria.
Right, so they can repopulate their own homeland.
What is that strategy that I don't understand? For example, the striking point is that look at the Palestinians who are in refugee camps around Israel. Why are we not shipping them to Arizona or California? So this means that there is a political reason behind it.
So what is it? What is the political reason?
I think that this shipping of demographies is organized by the Muslim Brotherhood. They want to get influence because the real goal of the refugees of Syria is to go back to Syria, to clean Syria, to liberate it, and to go back to their villages and homes and areas, not to become a migrant and shipped to other countries.
And we were talking earlier, there's a safe zone in Syria that we could secure. Where is it?
That's the biggest other issue. I mean, they're talking about, let's create a safe zone. We have a safe zone, meaning a zone that is not under the hands of Assad, not under the hands of ISIS. This is the northeastern part of Hasaki. as large as the country of Lebanon, controlled by Kurds who are our allies, by Christians who are our allies, by Sunni moderates who are our allies, having borders with Kurdistan in Iraq, having borders with Turkey. That is where we should begin working with. We should have the refugees who are inside Turkey moving to that zone, and we protect them and we give them aid. We don't need to ship them across the globe.
And give them a possibility of going back home.
Of course. All they have to do is to cross the border back home. You have 250 villages. You have airports in that area. Why are we bringing them to Kansas? They need to go home. That's what they tell me. That's what the Syrian refugee NGOs tell me.
There was a story today, the Honduran authorities arrested 5 people with fake passports. They had Greek passports. They had come in from Syria. They were all fake. How confident are you in the paperwork these people are carrying? Bishops have told me, priests have told me in Syria, they've got lines of converts, people converting. All they want is a baptismal ticket because that's their passport to refugee status.
Well, that's easy, Raymond. Once there is no policy to return them back home, once there is no American and Western strategy to solve their problem, they're going to solve it by themselves. They're going to buy any document. They're buying documents to get to Greece, and then from Greece to Serbia. It's complete chaos. And you know, in Syria, you have the government, and then you have 3 or 4 zones, and each zone can issue documents at will.
Do you think this is going to essentially secure and shut down the member states of the EU? Do you think they're going to lock down? Initially, Hollande locked down the borders of France. Do you see that spreading? Or no?
Of course. I mean, look at first the Eastern Europeans, the Czech Republic, the Slovaks, the Poles. They understood what this wave is all about. They analyzed it. They were under authoritarianism. They know how penetration occurs. Now it's Western Europe, after what happened in France and in Brussels, they are considering more measures on the borders.
We're going to put a little video up. I'm not going to play it, but I'll let people see a clip of it. This is from ISIS. They are threatening to attack Times Square, presumably on the day you would attack Times Square, New Year's Eve. How credible are these threats, or is this just propaganda trying to beat their chest? They've also threatened Washington, D.C.
It's both, Raymond. I mean, when ISIS or any jihadi organization, issues a threat, it's serious. It expresses actually their strategic decision. Do they have the means? That's a different story. But with every video that I have seen over the past many years, you have the hidden goal, which is to activate. It's like in science fiction movies.
It's to wake up the monster.
You are activating those who are in touch with you better. You are activating those who are self-radicalized, who don't have your phone number. That's how you activate them. I want an operation in New York. I want an operation in Washington. And then they hear the self-jihadi who are inside the United States would hear and would try. That's why there is no direct connection between a video and a cell. They throw the video and let the jihadists inside America do whatever they can to do it.
They figure it out.
They figure it out.
Let's talk for a moment about what should be done against ISIS in Syria. Now, Russia is engaged. You now have Iran getting into the game and saying, wait, we'll coordinate with the French and go in and do our bit. Where is the United States? Is there a role for the U.S. to be played in light of the fact the American people do not want troops on the ground?
We don't have to have troops on the ground. There are so many armies on the ground. There are tens of thousands of troops on the ground. All what you need to do, Raymond, but of course it needs maybe a different decision by this administration or between us, another administration to do it. You have 2 cities, the 2 capitals of ISIS. One is in the Sunni area of Syria, it's called Raqqa, and one is in the Sunni area of Iraq, it's called Mosul. These are 2 cities, and everything in between is desert and little villages. So what you need to do is not to have the Russians or the Iranians or the Iraqi Shia government or the Alawis or even the Kurds. Just have a super multi-force from the Arab world moving from the south. Jordan, Egypt, Saudi, UAE, they are American allies. They are trained with us. They have our equipment. Egypt is fighting in Sinai. Saudi and UAE in Yemen, they know what to do. But you know what they tell me, their diplomats? They don't have the green light from here. If they go up, they're not touching the Shia areas. They will liberate those areas and then give them back to legitimate people.
Walid Phares, before I let you go, how prepared are we in America for this kind of free-roving, antic attack like we saw in Paris?
It's a difficult question. Our law enforcement are the best in the world. They are active in 50 states going after the ISIS threat. The problem is that they need the support of our public. They need our politicians to inform the American people that we are at war and we need your help. Because if we have 300 million Americans looking out, for that threat, it will help the FBI, it will help the law enforcement.
And they've been very successful in doing that so far. But as this threat increases, and given recent history, they're here. They're not going to come in as refugees.
Oh, no.
They're already here.
Yeah.
And we saw that with the Tsarnaev brothers, the Boston bombers. These kids came through, Catholic Charities processed them and moved them into Boston. Where was the screening? How do you know? Because they weren't radicalized. Chances are they weren't radicalized when they walked in the door. So what do you do? How do you defend against the radicalization, particularly these young men?
You're going to begin from the beginning. You're going to ask the administration, declare what is the ideology, give us the green light to go after the indoctrination, and open that war of ideas that we have not done before.
Very good. Walid Phares, always fascinating.
Thank you.
Walid's prescient book, The Lost Spring, U.S. Policy in the Middle East and Catastrophes to Avoid, is available at bookstores everywhere and online.